So kicking back in for this week's game, as we start up once more, finding yourselves resting in the library. As mentioned by Dean, his character Alec takes some time to look through the books to find out more of the history on how the world came together, on how Straken found his kingdom of Blackrock, where he took on a knighthood there as a dragoon, incredibly powerful and incredibly high-ranking. He never abused the power given to him. He always had a focus to help people. So he traveled from place to place, making differences, conquered the orcs by killing their king, thus becoming their highest ranking in a single blow, brought peace to the elves by slaying a mighty sapphire dragon who threatened all of their lands, which in effect had caused the elves to push for war against the humans for their land. But in slaying the beast, he brought peace. They even managed to convince the dwarves to work together with them. Various other races soon simply joined together. It was a very different time for their world, because by this one knight's hand, he would never throw it for fight, and would always reach it out in friendship first. There was always kindness, always a sense to be brought together. And once their power grew to a certain point, it became inevitable that most every race joined with them, worked with them, or at least allied with them. Blackrock represents a single pinnacle of where their humanity stood off, where all the races stood, together in peace, in a world that worked to build this place you now find yourself in, a combination of all the skills and powers and abilities of not just humans and orcs and dwarves and elves, but the dragons and every other creature you could imagine with any degree of sentient most likely appears to have signed on with them over a long campaign of 20 years. There's also an interesting footnote in here explaining how the knight became a king. There's a sly moment during the end of the original wars, when the elves were making one last march on the kingdom of Blackrock. The king requested Straken's help, because the king was on his deathbed. Though in the middle of a war, he did not want his people to suffer. He didn't want the upheaval of the crown being shifted, so he asked the mighty wizard if there was anything he could do to prolong his life. The king sought not to rule for eternity, but just to see this war through. And of course, such a thing is not too far from a wizard's grip. Extending the life of a being isn't too hard when 9th level spells are at your disposal, so he did. And by the time the war came to an end, so did the king's life pass, but without heirs and without anyone to take the crown, he passed right of succession to the one knight that helped bring this world to peace, which is how Straken went from knight to king, over probably the greatest kingdom ever founded in their world. There's also lots of notes regarding mutual working and high tides with another city called the Free City of Greyhawk. Because as you've all probably assumed at this point, the world that was lost, the world of 3.5 D&D, Greyhawk is where Blackrock sat. The information in these tomes and texts do not go much further beyond. However, as Alec has taken a look, why don't you go ahead and give me a check, which is either going to be a nature, history, or arcana check. But only Alec gets to make this, where your character was the one flipping through these books overnight, looking up this specific information.
Well, I'm going to go nature because I'm a druid, but I've trained in arcana as well. But they're both the same modifier. Oh, almost missed that. Forgot to click the
BTT.
Yep.
Gotta get the D&D Beyond rivet loaded in.
Alright, here we go. Oh boy.
So, with an 11 on your nature check, This will be the last piece of information you'll be able to pull, unfortunately. If other players want to find out specifics, but they're more than welcome to do some digging. What Alec is able to confirm is that everything changed personally for Straken when he killed that sapphire dragon. You find some footnotes that lead you to other articles that let you cross-reference in a few books. As you read some important notes as you're holding a tome in your hands, flipping through the pages, you see a note there. The writing style changes for a brief moment. As it says in bold, after slaying the sapphire dragon, which bowed its head to me in reverence and told me who I truly am, the last shard of my consciousness, the 5 of them split, having found themselves over the aeons, brought back together and felled by my own blade, restores my mind to what I am. I am Sardior. But before you can read too much more into the book, it disappears from your hands. All the books on these shelves, all of them begin to fade away, drifting into the aether as the shelves empty, as the room seems to lurch around you as it loses its double size and becomes about as big as it is now on the map, as it seems to thud around all of you before settling, because that's the moment where Nimbar's walking in, big smile on his face as he's holding a book in hands, and the library itself lies as nothing more than empty shelves, all the information and knowledge lost. But before that, anyone else doing checks? Anyone else want to find out some specific knowledge?
What a tease.
Hey, don't blame me.
Boy.
Oh, no, I meant me.
I told you, that dragon in its dying moments told you all you'd destroy the library, didn't it?
Oh man, there's one more question off the back of that. Ah.
Oof. What was the question? I am curious.
So Alec was told that he's going to need to kill the 7 dragons when he hears the bells ring, right? So I was going to try and figure out who the 7 dragons are. So I thought there's at least 5 dragons in that story. So I was like, so there's another 2 somewhere. Maybe there's like, that's going to be like the reincarnations of whatever dragons Straken had to kill. But just as just as I thought of that question, the book disappeared. Oh no.
Oh. I will say the info your character pulls. The 5 dragons that are referenced are called Thanes. A word you've heard before a very long time ago. Well, not very long for your characters, but for us. As you might recall from a certain dungeon when a certain teacher was educating students. Give me another history check on your character to see how good your memory is.
Ooh, history is a rough one.
Yeah, but
With
sometimes the
people-
dice like you.
Yeah.
With a 21, as you piece together the information from one side to the other, you recall that there were 5 Thanes of Sardior that were mentioned. The 5 Thanes themselves each represented a breed of gem dragon. And I throw up their names for your character. But what's really, really throwing your character off is a footnote that you've read across the book, which mentions a 6th. But no name, no info, nothing. Because the books are already gone. The answer was there, on the next page.
Oh. Alright. Okay. Oh, Alec is going to end up like his dad. He's on the lookout for books now. Okay, so there's Right.
So there's
I wonder.
not 5, but 6. And just for the hell of it, since I can finish that spoiler I gave a long time ago, their names have already been said. Makes sense now, John, for that spoiler from back in Christmas time?
I don't remember the spoiler.
Not 5, but 6. And their names are already said.
Oh.
It was a cryptic one, I will admit. I love little fun spoilers. Especially when they're cryptic. Anybody else doing any information gathering during your long rest? Unfortunately, Nimbar cannot. Your character is too busy doing too many things, getting Flux ready,
Oh, yeah.
well, getting Nox ready, and all that. I'm assuming you used one of the book spells so that Nox has time to actually attune to stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to roll the clock back to 8 o'clock. I just unpaused it so people can move their minis while we're doing the prep, essentially. Dan,
Yeah,
is there any info Jade would be looking through for these books? As much as I've limited it to the storyline stuff that the players have been looking for, that's only a couple books and footnotes on spells and information gathered together. All the information you could ever imagine is at your fingertips right now.
I'm sure there's a million things Jade would like to look up. The player's mind is drawing a blank at the moment.
That's fair. Overload of information is the truth. So Jade probably spent a good chunk of the night just flipping through books then?
Yeah.
You'd be really disappointed as you're closing off the last book. It's one you were reading for fun. Oh, pardon me. It referenced a story about halflings who were betting on whether or not one of them could jump higher than the other to the height of a fully grown person, and back and forth, and there was a valuable lesson to be learned, and right when you're getting to the end of it, which is mostly a joke and a limerick inside of a story, poof, the book's gone. Cuts off the last line and ruins the joke on you. Outside of that, though, what I'm going to say for Jade, anytime when anyone makes a knowledge roll based on the lore of the game and the information that has been had, Jade will get a dice roll, DC will be very high, to see if you were lucky enough that it was info you skimmed over during the night. So try to keep that in mind when random stuff comes up. You can say, ooh, did Jade maybe read about this?
That could turn out to be useful.
Like, you know, as you see Dean's character throwing his hands up as Alec looks a little cranky. I didn't get to find out who the sixth Thane is. Why don't you go ahead and roll me a history check? Flat check, mind you, for your history on that one. Mind you, you do have that, like, souped up to the bejesus.
22.
Your character's given their jaw a rub, as you had to use reliable talent to get to 22, but unfortunately, it's not a pass. You're rubbing your head and nodding your head. You're nodding along effectively. You can confirm that there's only 6 Thanes, but you don't know who the 6th is. Even as Alec rambles off the names of the other ones, the Aliathiliathiliathiliathos, Hrodel, Shmargod, Charisma, I love that, and Tithonos. You're nodding, you're like, yeah, and there's one more, it's, shit, I thought I read that somewhere, maybe I didn't. But you can confirm there's only 6 of them.
You said we've heard them before. Is there any chance Nimbar would be able to remember?
Your character's not familiar with what Thanes are. And
Fair
the 6th Thane wasn't quite named as a Thane, so, you know.
Oh,
I just happen to have said the name already. A couple times. Actually, more than a couple times, but that's beyond the point. Actually, a lot more than a couple times. Which is half the point. But, I digress.
is it Stricken K-War?
God, no. I made that name up, thank you very much.
Okay, so this is an actual lore thing.
Oh yeah, if you go looking, you'll find out. Meta, that is. That's if you want to spoil it on yourselves. Totally.
Yeah, I don't know if I do or not.
You'll discover a lot more than just that, just with the one name. Once it's passed out, you'll go, holy cheese. But that's beside the point. So, I will say, the lore that you read up about the Thane, what makes them so incredibly powerful and dangerous. You know from the lore that the multiverse was built off Sardior's very essence. That's how they carved it out. His Thanes were literal forms of his consciousness. What they would do is they were spread across the multiverse, and they'd hunt themselves down. And 99% of the time, the dragon would give up its essence to the other Thane. So each one of these 5 dragons went through each multiverse, cutting down each version of themselves until only one remained. And then of those 5s, they cut it down to one sapphire. And that sapphire bowed its head to Straken. Because those were all just pieces of Sardior's will, restored back to who he was at that time. Which is where, not ironically, the first designs for Kintyre came from. Sardior knew what the gods were doing, what was coming for them, and this was his way to try to prevent it. Unfortunately, the day this city was launched, everything changed when everything changed when the gods attacked.
There is no war in Kintyre.
There is no war in Kintyre. There is no war in Kintyre.
That would have been such a good reference. I should have had an enemy do that. Just staring, there is no war in Kintyre, and then fight you all. It would have been great. I missed a good one.
Error. Guard protocols breached. There is no war in Kintyre. You know what? Just give it a couple of sessions, we'll forget, and then you'll say it, and I'm like, this guy.
Well, him saying it will remind us that he should have said it. But it'll still come full circle. It'll be great.
I feel like you're giving us a lot of credit there, John.
I have the memory that if that happens, it will remind me that this conversation took place.
Right. Are we all suited and booted, ready to go?
Well, I've sort of left it floating with the whole anybody want to look up info thing before we actually jump into what happens as the morning begins. But if no one else is doing any checking through or anything like that, I'll go ahead and get things up and rolling, which means first thing I have to do is set the clock back. Fortunately, that is a pretty quick and easy thing to do.
One thing I will say, I guess I was just kind of waiting for everyone to be done their parts. One thing that Flux might do between napping is she might, look up her own clan, maybe, and just see if there's any information about that. No pressure at all. I'm not assuming that you prepared anything, but if there was something that Flux would look up, it'd probably be that.
So, the Naira clan that Fluminoxus
It's the other way around. So her clan is actually Fluminoxus, and her personal name is Naira. She just never uses it.
Yep. I kind of realized as I was talking out loud, I flubbed it, and I tried to say Fluminoxus a few times so I could flip back to that, but you caught me.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's really not a big deal. We don't talk about it in game, so it's not a big deal.
If you re-listen to it, you'll hear me stuttering pretty bad with the last name, first name, because I mix it. I'm like, no, it's like an Eastern name. I gotta use that correctly. Shoot. The Fluminoxus clan is very well known, actually, in this kingdom. Now, as you know, this is a completely different world. Not like your own. It's not like the multiverse where this is some offshoot of your world. This is its own world with its own offshoots, but there's always familiarities and glances of information to be found. If Flux goes digging, she will find the name Fulminoxus listed at a lot of times in the books. Spending her night going through them, you find her people were exceedingly rare in this world. There were not very many Dragonborn at all, and those few of them that they were generally always aspired to great and powerful things. And one interesting thing you come to learn is they made up the backbone of the highest ranking soldiers who worked for Blackrock. There were only a few of them, but they were incredibly powerful and incredibly well trusted. You also come to find that between themselves and Straken's own ability with the dragons, they were instrumental in having the dragons ally with Blackrock. One color after another, until everyone swore fealty for peace. Drafting treaties for space, for range, for where dragons can call home, for where the Reds will live and where the Golds won't cross because they'll immediately fight. Little things like that come up. Then your character's clan on this side were instrumental in those dealings, and were quite good at it too, as you find out. They made some of the absolute strongest warriors, some of the absolute greatest fighters. But there were not many of them at all. The Dragonborn was exceedingly rare, if almost unheard of in this world.
Interesting.
Which would explain why the full plate armor had no problem adjusting to your character's form.
It's cool.
You could almost say it was actually built for your people. So, haha, I did actually think of this in advance. For once I had it, I didn't have to just make it up. I mean, I plan everything, I swear.
It's okay if you don't.
Sometimes you have to be ready to improv. You cannot plan everything. As much as DMs like to pretend to be really powerful and omnipotent, we're like the Wizard of Oz. We just look the part.
We're just very good at bullshitting you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, your character discovers lots of information on how they were all first to the charge. This also means, near the end of days for these kingdoms, you also found they spent a lot of time training others. They adapted some of the orcs' war philosophies for the outrageous amount of damage that they could just output. But their refined techniques from your draconic principles, which are a little different than what you use now, are not quite as powerful, not quite as refined, but it looks like they might be able to hit more times in a turn. 3.5, a little bit faster in that regard. But they give up a certain degree of accuracy with every shot that they make. It's a deal nobody really likes anymore. Used to get like plus 20, plus 15, plus 10, plus 5, plus 0 to the attacks or something like that. It's been a few years. Cut me some slack.
That is correct.
So each attack has a lesser chance of hitting. But you, on the other hand, go full Ginsu and swing 9 times in a turn with the bonus action and action surge. And each one gets like plus a bajillion. So, a little bit of a difference in that regard. I figure Flux is such an ass kicker, it must come in the blood. Her people for the longest time have been ass kickers. Good ass kickers, mind you. They only kick an ass if it deserves it. But they make sure that no evil ass remains unsullied. Oh, I could keep going to make the joke even worse and worse and worse, but it gets rude instead of funny after a little while. But definitely, longtime peacekeepers for the city itself. Well, I'm going to go ahead and switch us off from the fancified endless voyage elevator music style background that I like to use while we're prefacing and having fun, and swap it back over to the regular campaign music, because as Nimbar comes through the door, he has in tow a rather tired looking Flux by the name of Nox, who's decked out in armor, skills, and abilities. As they walk in, you might see a slightly more concerned look fall across Fluminoxus's face. Because Nimbar, who's walking in, slamming the new fancified superbook down as the library disappears, probably pats a hand on the back of Nox as he says, "Hey guys, check it out! We got a new simulacrum ready, and you hear a deep, foreboding growl come out of her. She looks down towards Nimbar and gives a rather wicked grin and says, "You got the wrong one. This is Flummonoxus," and reaches and draws out her weapon.
Oh no.
Probably only lasts for a couple seconds, though, before, Julian, would it be safe to say your character starts laughing?
Yeah, probably. Sorry, I was on
Perfect.
mute.
I gave Jillian a DM to make sure this was an okay joke for me to pull, of course, mind you. But be at this point, Flux starts laughing, as does her simulacrum, who gives Nimbar a rather firm smack on the back. With an "I'm just messing with you, buddy. It was too easy to prep that one. I thought I'd do it in advance." And then she goes and gives herself a high five. Gives Jillian one, essentially.
Yeah, I was just let them squirm a little bit, Alan.
Yep. Oh, I let it sit in the air there for a minute. And then I decided to check in with you to let them know it was a joke. You know. Thank you for running with me on that one, Jillian.
Worries?
John, did I get you for a second?
Had me pausing, going, what?
But yes, with that, unfortunately, the library is now gone, along with the answers and information.
You were supposed to say the library is closed.
No, it's not closed, it's gone. You can't close that which no longer exists. All that's here now are bare shelves,
Well, no,
empty
when
chairs.
when-
This could
when
be
they're
like a
done with
super
the-
duper mart from Fallout, for God's sakes.
when they're done with the library, they close it. Close it down for good.
But it's not a library anymore. It cannot be closed. I'll fight you on this one. I appreciate where you're going with it. The place is now closed forever. And we could play that old school music, dun 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 dun. You know, good old raves, good old times. So Nimbar has traded knowledge for power, taking up a spell book with every spell ever in it. Along with copying, did you copy those spells to your other books? So you have 2 books that have all the spells? Well, all the 5th edition
Yeah.
spells.
Yes.
Alright. That one's still in your backpack, the Tome of the Still Tongues. Your own spellbook now in hand, ready to kick some butt. As you wield Straken's original spellbook in his own beautiful handwriting. Because the DM's handwriting is absolute garbage after breaking his arm a few times, Straken gets amazing handwriting. The best of the best. Super calligraphy. If he wrote your wedding invitations, everybody would come. You'd send one, I don't know, let's say... Who's a super famous person who probably would? He send one to Tom Hanks. Actually, no, he seems like a nice guy. He might just show up anyway. Bad example. But the library is now empty. Not a book left on the shelf, not a scrap of paper to be found. Even the inkwell pens, even the dishes, all gone, leaving barren furniture and a room of absolute silence behind. The owl on Alec's shoulder gives a light jump and then speaks to him. "Oh, boss, that was messed up, man. I was reading that good line right there, going on about the things, and then poof, gone. Wah!" You know, he was right at the same spot you were in the book. He's shooting a glare at Nimbar. It's like, do not like having a book closed while you're reading it.
I have to say, I'm finding the image of a empty library more upset than I thought it would. Never had much of a head for books.
Okay, Alistair.
I miss my dad.
Well, I mean, if we're going to be honest here, what you had would have looked something like that. And what you leave behind Oh, thank you, Shutterstock. I will use that picture. It's lovely. Why not? Put a big Shutterstock across it. And that's what you leave behind. Nothing left in the room but what light provided. Centuries of history. The truths of the world. Now, only in your character's memory, as the true rules of creation have been laid out before you bare. That the world you exist in comes off the back of the dragons, the one world that originally existed, the one that's always been theorized, used in proud and powerful poetry, or talked about in glamorous ways, was little more than a flower garden trampled upon to create skyscrapers in the form of your own worlds. And though they have their own beauty, don't get me wrong, what was lost to create what you have? And now you all have to carry that burden of knowledge. Your characters knowing, as spiritual beings they are, that the world you sit on came at the cost of the material world. Or at least, knowledge Nimbar obtained. I think you shared that with everybody.
Yeah.
And at this point, Dean would have it too anyway with Alec. Like, he spent the night reading through, right? To get the little extra pieces on what actually happened with the dragons.
Yeah.
But the fact that there are 5 Thanes, if you were chatting that through as well with Nimbar or anyone else, including Jade, who has that stuff, you'd know it's basic knowledge. Well, I shouldn't say basic. It's knowledge within the academic wings that there were the 5 Thanes. Having the 5 names is impressive. Usually you find 1 or 2 names in the annals of history here or there, but names long since dashed and removed. Now all that knowledge is laid bare, but to know that there's a 6th Thane none of you have ever heard of. Jade almost did. But as you can tell, that means the roll's a pain in the ass, Dan. I am sorry. But it's also, you're the last chance roll when that comes up with that situation, which is as it
yeah,
should
that's
be.
fair.
Your character's the jack of all trades. That's the as it should be moment. And you know what? If Courtney was here, I'd let her character roll it. I'm even tempted to say maybe Bellamy knows the name of the 6th Thane. Reading over your shoulders as best she can because she couldn't actually pick up a book having turned incorporeal. Maybe she read it. Maybe she'll be able to share it the next time she plays. Maybe I'm just that cruel. But it does give her a nice little bonus for when she does show, because it's nice when she gets to play. When she actually gets the free enough time that she can relax like that, I feel good for her. Because, you know, I know she works hard. Oh, poor Courtney. But I do have her invisible mini on the screen. She's right over here. See? She's like, hey guys, poof, gone again. But she'll give Bardic Inspiration once per round on her initiative in combat, as mentioned. So, with much more lore, practically all of the questions answered, I will give the team one more question, if you have any questions on any of the stuff that's come up in the game so far. If any questions on the lore, the creation of the world, any of the things, except obviously that 6th Thane. Because, well, expended all
Gotcha.
options.
Fine,
So-
keep your secret, Sid.
So the records stop at the destruction of Blackrock.
The records pretty much end. It took about 15 years to build this city. Straken
Yeah.
himself was in his 40s by the time it was done. And the records end pretty much at the coronation of the city. The next step was to have it move to where Blackrock was, though it's noted this would take a long time without using the world engine, which is what it refers to for its ability to traverse the planes of existence. So that was their next step, but you all know how that day turned out.
Yeah.
And John, I'll throw this one up just for you, my friend, since you said it. Oh,
So-
also, if you see me on hard mute in Discord throughout the day today, it's just because my AC's going. You can hear it in the background. Discord cuts it out, but the recording keeps it, so I do this so it sounds better.
No worries.
Basically, just don't want anyone thinking, shit, where did he go?
Yeah. I don't know. So look, we know that Conqueror was basically like a kind of arc, like it's going to be a mobile city and weapon for them to fight this war. Do we also know that the war started just because the gods didn't want Sardier to become more powerful. Was there any? I don't know. Feel free to veto this question because I'm literally making it up as it's.
Give me an Arcana check. You're onto something.
Like because my thing was, what was Sardier's goal? Like, was he going to try and remake the Prime World? Something like that. Okay, fingers crossed.
With a 22 on your Arcana, as you're piecing these things together and you draw dangerously close, your character would take the extra leap with their magical knowledge. Sardior's minds were brought back together, certainly, and he'd be incredibly powerful. But the multiverse, which is his power split out, still existed when the world was torn asunder, when he was finally defeated last time, when the gods stepped in, and even then, by his own basic nature, he was strong enough that he was still able to slay gods and make a huge tonal shift, with just his consciousness restored to full. But your character knows at that time, all 3 billion plus multiverse places were still together. Now, however, you've been warned. Only 2 timelines remain. Only 2 worlds in all of the multiverse remain. Are these events connected? If they are, it means Sardior is almost a complete being once more. His consciousness is out there somewhere, causing all of this hell. But his physical being looks like it's only one fallen world away from being completed.
I wonder if Sardior, right, if he's combining all these worlds, he can't be in the worlds. Is he like the power, like in the void? Like, is he orchestrating this from the void so that when the worlds combine, he steps into it?
If that is
I
the
have a
case-
theory.
Oh?
We were talking about all the things and all the dragons that served Sardior. The obsidian dragons were removed, except for one, Dusty. He's currently trying to recreate Sardior.
And he uses
Right.
obsidian dolls and stuff, so is he the obsidian Thane?
The obsidian thing, using obsidian to recreate Sardior and bring him back because they were the fanatical of his followers. At least a theory.
Alright, let me see if I can throw a bug in that theory. Everybody, give me one last history check. Because all the characters glanced through the books, and all the characters took a look.
I kind of want to know, so I think I'm going to burn my point of inspiration on the roll.
Ooh. I even rolled Bellamy on this one. Nimbar with a 27. Jade's thinking with a 22. Something about that doesn't sound right. However, it's an interesting theory, but there's something there that's bugging your character about why it wouldn't sound quite right. To which Nimbar's going to speak up. That he doesn't know much more about the 6th Thane than anything else that's been said so far. But he knew they were female.
kind of makes a little bit of a difference.
You don't.
The plot, she thickens.
So, no, that wouldn't make sense. I'm thinking, is it the body that Zariel's currently inhabiting? But that body's from. That's the Queen of Blackrock. And it would need to be from a different world, not the one that Sardior's from. Presumably. No, wait, no. Because he hunted down the Sapphire Dragon, I feel like you know the meme with Charlie Day with the string.
Yeah.
And the,
Yep.
Just write Sardior on the wall in big bold red instead.
yeah.
I string a plot, and I swear it's coherent. I have not changed the core story. I've tweaked the lore as we've gone because they dropped a book in my lap that had all the lore I needed to the letter. And I just started giggling. It actually reminds me of a scene from Gundam. If anyone watched Gundam Seed Destiny and all that back in the day, where they had nuclear weapons and then they introduced the End Jammer, which blocks nuclear weapons from usage, which was the whole point of the series. And then like 3/4 of the way through one part, the big bad of the series gets a blueprint in his lap from the good guys or something like that, and it's called an End Jammer Canceller, and he just starts laughing as he puts his hands up in his hair like, ah, that was me when I got the book. 100%. I got the whole team scratching their heads now. This is great. Dan's like, I've got it. I know what it is. This is what it is. And Nimbar's like, curveball.
But
I do like the way you're going with that one, though, Dan. That's good thinking. However, I will say, you have been able to confirm that Straken is the avatar of Sardior. You know that much. Whether or not that makes him an obsidian dragon, but Sardior is a ruby dragon. And, of course, you've heard rumors of obsidian dragons throughout all of D&D. The Sixth Thane, who's completely clueless for information, and the existence of obsidian dragons are one and the same. So if you're drawing the conclusion that the Sixth Thane is an obsidian dragon, well, they're also a gem dragon. The only other one you'd know of beside the five, so that's a logical assumption to define upon in the end. Maybe. I'm sure at this point John's like, alright Google, Thanes of Sardior, number 6, send. I'm only joking, of course.
I'm very tempted. You're not lying.
Yep.
I haven't done it yet.
There's very little lore and info left to throw out for this story, outside of the major catalysts that brought moments to happen. So, if any other questions come up, now's pretty much the last moments to ask them. The library had some info, but before it fades away, you can never come back, because it's already gone.
One last throw of the dice. Our barbarian friend, who exists and doesn't exist because she was ripped from the timeline. What if she was actually the Obsidian Thane setting all this in motion, and we don't know her and don't remember her because she was ripped from the timeline because she was a fanatical genius?
What,
Just another Fred. What am I thinking?
You think I'd be ballsy enough to have you all constantly traveling with the Obsidian Thane?
but we're
Yes.
not. But we are. But we're not.
Ah, you're not wrong, John.
Well,
Wait, was
it's,
that
it's,
supposed to be a no moment? 'Cause no
It's
one
just-
believes you wouldn't.
it's just the only. It's the only character I know of that simultaneously exists and doesn't.
That was my super long con, that one, but you decided to find it out a little early. It was going to be a drop at one point near the end, right? As it happened, and then you'd all be like, oh my god, but you got it early. So that's okay, but I still have enough tricks up my sleeve with this one. Don't
Doesn't mean
worry.
we finally get to meet the barbarian.
You know what? I'm going to quote Harry Potter. You'll meet that one at the close. When this campaign is at its final steps, this one, you'll meet that barbarian.
Flux puts a book in her mouth.
You see, Bellamy has come into existence at this point. She has like an arm wrapped around Flux's neck. She's taking a drink and Flux is putting in a book. Probably had a few drinks herself, you know what I mean? I'm switching that Jillian over to party mode. Alrighty then. Well, that was the library. Hopefully it's provided a bunch more answers to the questions your characters may have and to the questions the players may have. And hopefully a few more questions.
So many questions. Questions.
Hmm. So we should try and find the next thing. Do we remember which was the best? I remember the bathrooms were this way.
Oh, you've
So-
already gone in this direction. That was last
Yeah.
week's run. Because you got the Not
So-
Nimbar who's still way over here. And I'm going to bring this thing back. Let's run it through some
I
walls.
think the nearest control room, power room, crystal room, whatever we're calling them, is like this direction somewhere. I
Which
zoomed
direction,
way
sorry?
out. I zoomed way out and realised no one's going to see it. I believe it was like
Oh, okay, yeah.
this way somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I think yep. DM's highlighting a spot. So
Give or take. Flux's
We
mask
wanna-
would be pinging that way, that way, that way. You know what I mean?
yeah. So we want to try and go southeast, but it's a maze, so it's we go as southeast-ish as we can, I think. So I would guess we either take the tunnel down that way, which is southish before it turns, or there's one past the diner that goes up and is kind of in an eastish direction. Not too sure which one to pick.
Oh, you had walked far enough on this one to know that it curves back around towards the west and seems to continually go north. Both of the
Right.
paths off of this lead backwards in the dungeon,
Right.
it would seem.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
nothing is.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say my gut for no real reason is saying down this way, but
I think we
you
all,
can back that up.
yeah, I think we all were feeling that, which is why we went north first, because we didn't have too much time.
Yeah.
So by all means, if you wanted to just leave Not Nimbar, I'll move your minis to play the catch-up game as you all decide where to go. But Not Nimbar makes a nice little token. Actually, I'm going to check permissions on Not Nimbar. I think you're all... I'm going to switch everyone over to Owner if John doesn't mind. That way anyone at any time can move Not Nimbar.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, oh, let's go this way. How about this way? And you all have freedom of choice. There was this path that's been skipped entirely, and now the way that Not Nimbar travels in this direction through twisting and winding long tunnels. Hey, you can just feel free to advance. I'll let you know if you bump into something. I'll let you know as you come to crosses and considerations in the road.
Alright.
Tap tap with a stick as we go.
Yep.
We bust out the sticks.
The hallways here are a little more brightly lit than the others, and seem to be rather quiet, almost devoid, it seems, of the traps that you've seen in other halls as you find yourselves making it to this next zone, an intersection up ahead, where you can either choose to go to the north, or consider to the end of the hall where you can go towards the south, which is outside of Not Nimbar's range of view. So let's go ahead and swap his vision up to 180 squares instead of just 60, which will be triple of the distance for the length of distance. But I'll only put this on 1 because increasing that has an exponential growth on the lag it'll cause on your system. Because you can see Alec's vision is limited, but not Nimbar can now see as far as 180, so...
Okay, thank you.
That should cover most hallways and corridors. But as mentioned, there's one here, and there's one down to the very end to the south.
I wonder if, curious to see if this little northern passage, if it goes to a dead end or not. I'll poke my head around, or send the mind just around this corner, see what's.
It does continue in a twisty, turny fashion. You gonna follow it through a little further with the manifest mind?
Yeah. I'll where is it? I should probably move the mind.
As the mind twists and turns and makes its way through. As it starts to come upon the corner up here, it can see the dried, splattered remains of streaks of old blood stained into the tilework of the floor from a very, very long time ago, having turned it red as it leads around the corner.
Oh boy, I know that blood should probably stop us from going any further, but it's making me want to go, what's a dead end?
Looking at the dead end, as the blood leads to a pile on the edge here, you can see in the corner of this room, propped up against the wall, a suit of silver armor with a rather peculiar face meld covering all from view. But most interesting are the 2 beautiful gossamer wings upon its back. It holds a rather magnificent looking longsword as well, as it lays propped up against the wall. Unmoving, unflinching, it makes no response to not Nimbar as it rolls its way backwards.
Why do I find that disturbingly reminiscent of don't tell me, no crates. Should we go give that a closer look, guys?
It does look pretty.
So, is the blood coming from whatever's? Is it coming from the armor? Like, does it look as though something inside it is bleeding?
Oh yes, definitely. It looks like it drug itself to the corner, leaned up against the wall, and died a long time ago.
I'm just noticing my my thing here. My potion of vitality would be gone by now, right?
Oh yeah, we've switched over long enough now that has worn off.
Yep. I figured. Okay, I forget how you right click, right? Yes.
I think so.
Got it. Yep, that is. I got it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, this day I have the potion of vitality.
Okay, I'm going to use my my fey-touched feet to cast.
When you say your fey-touched feet, like I know you mean like your feet that you've taken in place of an ASI, but like I just think your little toesies are fey-touched.
It's like at first I didn't register until Jillian started talking, then I just started giggling. I had to mute myself.
Yeah.
You know what? A fey foot massage is probably a pretty good thing.
No, it probably is very good for the moment, but not good for long-term benefits.
Oh, you got to make a good deal for it, I imagine. I wouldn't just accept it. That would need to be like the reward for something you did. You know, you got to provide the service first so that you're on equal footing. Yeah, don't just If you're in the Feywild and you see something like free hugs, free back massage, you absolutely walk in the other direction.
The Fae would give you the best foot rub you've ever had in your life. Your feet be so smooth, they shining as they just laugh and walk away, and you're like, sweet! And you go to get up and fall on your ass. They removed every inch of friction from your foot.
Yeah.
It's like living on an ice rink, except you're the ice.
Oh man. Nightmare.
Oh yeah. See, this is why I don't do a Fae campaign. I would be the most worst DM. People be like, that's really clever. That makes a lot of sense. I really love the horror, but fuck you, man. People would be cursing at me by the end of it with smiles on their faces. I'd hope. Probably not, but you know, I can always hope. Anyway, though, pretty suit of armor.
I don't mind going first. I'll go and look. Or do we want to put someone else want to go first?
Hey Dan, you gonna have Jade poke it with a stick?
We can also mage hand it with.
I poke it with a stick.
It sounds like we're already there.
Dan's been having his character walking along, tapping his stick, so I figured, you know, he'd have the opportunity. And all the while, I can imagine Flux is like standing with one hand on the sword, just ready. However, as Dan, your character leans forward and gives it a poke with a stick. The
Sorry,
mask...
I hit refresh. I meant to hit something else. I'll be back in a sec.
No worries. The mask component falls off the armor. As it does, you're greeted to the sign of a worn, whitened skull, bleached with age, as the occupant of the armor has long since passed on.
Sorry about that. I meant to mute myself first.
Oh, no worries, bud.
Right. Just do some thinking out loud. So, enough time has passed for this, if it is a body, to have become just like completely skeletal.
Oh,
How
you know this
old
place has
is-
been here thousands
Yeah.
of years.
So, how old is the blood on the floor then? Like, I
See, that's why I was smart. I say it stained the floor tiles.
Stained.
As you notice, it
Okay.
won't come up. It seeped in and permanently recolored them. Yeah. Because I knew that'd be a plot hole if I didn't. I'm sure this dungeon has Roombas, or at least gelatinous cubes that clean up the floor. They can't do nothing about that. Once again, the quotes from Fallout. Do you know how to get radioactive fallout out of floor tiles? You can't get radioactive fallout out of floor tiles. I tried.
Okay. Is there like if we just given the armor like a once over, is there any like damage to the armor? Like, oh yeah, look, he's been hit by a warp pick there, and that's where he bled out from. Is there anything like
Nothing
rent
at all.
Well, they're taking a peek. I'm gonna start ritual casting Detect Magic.
Oh, yeah. We'll say, of course, the armor radiates with a very weak magical aura compared to what you're seeing. I mean, you look side-on at Flux, your character basically goes half-blind for a minute. All the sheer power radiating off of her. I'd say she looks like a demon lord, because that seems to be the trending thing to say in animes and stuff right now, but that's not cool. Jillian, give me some mythical, powerful creature.
Valkyrie.
Oh, yeah. The energy burning behind her makes her look like a Valkyrie standing in human form. Well, draconic form. Dragonborn form.
I low-key stole that from Jim Butcher in the Dresden Files, but
That's a good
it's fitting.
one. I like it. I'm gonna play catch up with the rest of the minis, just so you're all on the map and nearby.
Yeah, I was just about to do that. Forgive me if I'm going the wrong way. I didn't see which way. I saw where they were, but I didn't see how they got there.
And I'll pull your mini over as well to save you the step.
Thank you.
Did it double copy? It did. Big shiny suit of armor. Radiates with a little bit of a magical property to it. The armor itself, it just seems to be a nature of the armor, implying the magical armor. Aside of that, you don't notice any other magics besides the usuals of the Conqueror itself.
Okay. Let me see. I don't have. Does anyone have a cantrip that affects creatures but isn't touch, and maybe is not outwardly offensive? I was wondering, like something like guidance, just to see if it's a creature or not. I need to touch something to do that, so I would be as well just investigating, or like giving it a once over.
I mean, I'm Toll of the Dead, but that's very offensive.
I
Yeah.
have, how do you pronounce it? Photomagy? Whatever the proper pronouncing. I can cause tremors in the ground. They're harmless for 1 minute.
Sure, we could rattle it, see if anything happens. I don't know if we need to wait the full minute, but we shake it about for a few 12 seconds or something, and be like, okay.
Alrighty. Does Jade drop a rattle? The harmless tremors that you create then. Tremels, oh my god. Tremels, they're like tribbles, only twice as annoying because they mess up when you speak wrong. The harmless tremors that you reach through the ground cause the floor to shake and vibrate ever so lightly that the armor, in fact, topples over. The contents spilling about as little more than bones and dust. The armor itself falling to pieces on the ground as you would expect it to, as it no longer is held on to anyone. Still functional, it would seem. Interestingly, those wings are the only thing that have not succumbed to time and age. Glancing over, it definitely does look like a celestial being, one of the angels that might have been cut down during the fights with Kintyre.
Okay.
I just thought it'd be fun if their wings didn't rot.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually. Yeah. John, do you have remove curse now? Is that a wizard spell?
It is, and I have it prepared.
Alright.
I will also add, despite being divine celestial nature beings, Nimbar would not see any magic whatsoever remaining in their bones. You know how magical creatures sometimes carry a bit of an aura or anything like that. Only the armor, absolutely nothing of magical nature would remain of the body.
Alright, I guess Alec's gonna go and start looking at the bones and see if we can find an injury. I know there was probably just too old to find it, but I want to see if there's like some busted up ribs or.
It's easy enough to follow where the mark on the armor indicates a gash to the femur, which would have been dangerous, but something like this would have been able to heal that wound, which is probably what it was doing in the corner, but for some reason, it still passed on. Well, I'd say for some reason it still passed on, but you all remember what happened to Lulu.
Oh, so its essence was drained away. I was thinking maybe it was injured by an apocalypse blade and just couldn't heal it in time.
Definitely injured, for some reason. And severely injured, but wouldn't have been enough to kill it, but definitely weakened it.
Okay,
Also, on an interesting note, your celestial friend Zariel, even though she's not inside of the shield bubble at the moment, is on the outskirts of it fighting hard, but hasn't been absorbed either.
yeah. It's something to do with the shield, I think.
Jillian, give me a perception check with Flux as she looks over the armor.
Okie dokie.
As your fighter instincts scan in, the basis one entirely on your class. I'll look at that getting a 20 bloody 3 total, acing it. You can tell by the look of the armor that whoever wore this must have been pretty damn strong. The armor's only got a few dings and nicks here and there. It looks somewhat ornamental, but severely powerful armor. That is to say, it's probably a +1 or a +2 plate. Not as good as what you're wearing, no. Their sword also contains only a minor amount of nicks and scratches across the blade, many of which made from strikes, very few from parrying. It also shows a long line of wear and usage. So you're assuming whoever did wear this armor, whoever this skeleton once belonged to, was exceptionally powerful in life. Well, as far as fighters go. You probably have that moment where your character could scrape their knuckles on their own breastplate and blow the dust off, and be like, not quite as strong as me.
I will share that with the group.
Does anyone want the armor? So I'm not too sure, other than taking it and probably saying a little prayer or something for the bones. Maybe it finds some rest in them.
I will make note that the armor and sword, and this is strictly meta until you actually identify them, both function as +2, nothing more.
Hey Fergus, did you hear me open the pen refills and think it was food? Hey?
Well, while Dean's character Alec is taking a moment to pray over the body, and while Dean's taking a moment with Fergus, because we can't blame him, that dog's awesome, Dan, is Jade going to take the armor and the weapons and put them in storage?
Yeah, sure.
Taking the moment to clear the bones and all that stuff out. Tidy up the armor, then put it away. No problem. No issues. Actually, how is Fergus doing? Because we're about at our usual 2-hour point where we take a break. Does he need to go out for anything?
He could maybe do with a pee probably, but I think he's been pretty relaxed so far.
Alrighty. Did we want to take it now, or did we want to give it 15 minutes and take it at 12:30?
I'm easy.
I'll make the hard decision. I kind of have to go to the bathroom, so if we want to take a break now, then that might be a good time for me to do that.
Perfect. Thank you for being the tiebreaker on that one, Jillian. We'll take a quick 15 then, and we'll come back at 12:30, and we can kick up where we left off.
Awesome. See you guys in the bat.
Have fun.
And let's kick back in where we left off. The team having snuck a suit of armor and a nice long sword into a bag with Jade. Skeletal remains of an angel before you. Its power drained out by this city, as I had hinted to, leaving nothing behind but bones in the magical armor. No traps were triggered. No crazy shenanigans to be had. What you have before you now is a straightforward path, with this path leading south. Are we sending the Nimbar who wishes it was Nimbar, but is actually instead a not Nimbar manifest mind? Or any other weird things for the hallway?
I think we'll do the usual, send him on a bit, following his, not footsteps,
Wait.
face trail? Wake, yes, that's good.
Alright. So you go ahead. Anyone can feel free to move it along. Because the path itself remains fairly twisty, turny, and windy. I'll let you know if you trigger anything along the way, or if Jade's stick happens to trigger anything along the way as well, because I'm assuming, Dan, Jade's still walking around, relying entirely on his blind sight and his stick. I want to say he's walking like a blind person, but that's just rude. But you get that point. That's how careful your character is being, that they need that specially acquired sixth sense to try to find the traps. By all means, as the path goes south and then turns to the east, with a twisting turning, as it looks like I may have forgot to put a wall there. Let me just fix that. There we go.
Okay. I paused as soon as I saw the grey bit. I was like, okay.
Oh, I'm usually not too worried. It's just for less confusion. As this is a twisting and turning path set out before you that continues onward.
Oh, well. Oh yeah. We're making some tracks here.
As the path snakes around.
We may need to ask you to use your DM powers to move us.
Due to dungeon size.
Yeah.
Due to copy paste with the minis. As you make your way through this area, one thing that catches the attention, possibly of the druid first, is how warm this area is becoming. Not blisteringly hot, mind you, but it doesn't feel like some sort of air-conditioned space anymore. You actually feel a little bit of heat in this area, as the area's ambiance temperature has naturally increased by a couple degrees. It doesn't continue as you make it, but it has become slightly more warm in this area.
Huh. Is it at all reminiscent of, like, say, the completely different construction and object kind of thing, but is it at all reminiscent of, like, if we were on the ship and we went down in the engine room? Is it like, feel like we're getting, you know, that's just like a couple of degrees warmer, a bit more stuffy, or is it too hard to tell?
Just warmer, comfortably so, in fact. It almost has a familiar sort of scent to it, but not something you can place right off. Comforting, almost. And I'm just pulling the minis closer so they're at least further on the path. I think I got everybody, except possibly the owl. Nope, he's there too. Sweet.
Yep. Yes.
Two of him. My bad.
It's just a blip from another multiverse.
As you continue.
I think.
Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
I was just going to say, before we go on south, Alec would like to check this top end of the tunnel for any kind of hidden compartments or doors. So sometimes it's like little janitor cupboards or shortcuts.
You go ahead and give me a perception check as you make it there.
Okay. Can I guide myself before I start?
Certainly.
Alright. Plus, what's that? Oh, a 6. Not great, but
I want to point out your 6 is like my 20.
With a 27, as your character leans in and pushes an ear on the wall among things, trying to understand, you don't feel a secret door by any means, but what you can hear, what seems to be echoing through this solid wall that with a 27 somehow you hear through. The sounds of water flowing, birds chirping, and trees twisting and rustling on the air. Like holding a shell up to your ear and hearing the ocean. As you fairly hard concentrate, you're pretty sure you can hear nature through the wall. A very different sound from what you're used to hearing in this cold, mechanical plane.
I wonder if we're getting close to a greenhouse or some kind of indoor yarn. Oh, maybe it's what you call them? Was the sci-fi big, huge colony ships have them? Was like an onboard garden to grow food and oxygen? I wonder if that's what we're getting close to.
Oh
Tree
my god!
boards, to quote the doctor.
Arboretum? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
That's close, but I can tell that is off and is...
Not being a sci-fi expert, like, what is it? Some offshoot of Terrarium? Like Biodome or something like that?
Yeah, it's something like that. oh, you know what? We're going out. I'll think about this all day, then message each other in the Discord and be like, "It's this."
Well,
Oh,
as Not Nimbar makes it on, he sees a path to the west, which I can confirm through Flux's armor is not indicative towards the crystal, and a path towards the south that branches east. That does point towards the crystal.
does anyone mind if we send the mind just up here to see if this west tunnel branches off somewhere? Because I just wonder how far it goes. Oh, a T-junction.
I think arboretum is the right word.
I think it's
I mean,
similar. It's like
I-
yeah, that'd be for trees and shit too, mostly. You know, like a giant forest indoors. Arboretum,
Yeah.
Arborarium, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
think
could
it
be.
was one of the Prince of Persia games.
I was thinking the one from Star Trek.
Well, as you can see, as you've sent the manifest mind around, these hallways end in clear dead ends. Though the one ahead of you has some janitorial supplies and small cabinetry. Nothing major at all, a mop and bucket essentially, though both have long since dried out. No doors, nothing of the other sort there.
Okay. Do any of you want to go up that way, or happy to push on south?
Seems the place to be.
I should have made that angel thing an undead killer because I found the most wicked picture. It's one of those times you find that you're like, I want to use that, but I don't really have a purpose in which I can use it. Let me show you a quick picture of what I found. Because look, isn't that cool? That would have been a heck of a nice fight. Two big nasty
yeah.
swords on an undead monster. Oh yeah,
Oh, that's adorable.
I like that. And of course, another dead end lies in your way, while the path ahead goes north to a dead end, then east and west, from what your eyes can see.
You mean West?
I think
As you approach this northern junction, you can see, in fact, there is writing on the walls here and here. And the wall over here has one of those interesting diamond storage units that you've seen earlier, just not presently in use. This wall says, in an ancient tongue, some mystical words that you would need to be able to comprehend languages to be able to understand. And let's see if I can just teleport everybody.
I could do that.
Yeah,
I just
you currently have helmet, so.
I'm just bringing the party up to par for where this area is. It also has an arrow pointing in this direction. And then there's the same wordings with an arrow pointing in this direction. And then on this wall, either of these two walls contain the exact same wordings, again in an old forgotten tongue. So, with that magical helm, you're going to be reading and seeing how they work.
I'll need to touch the wall to see what they say. But if this is where the bathrooms were, maybe I'm wrong, but I think one might say male and one might say female, and the arrows will point off in different directions.
Well, the
Well, you already
bathrooms were
found the
up.
bathrooms.
Oh, we did? Okay.
And
Right.
the wordings on both of these are identical.
Before you touch it, doesn't Jillian have like Siri?
Can I ask?
Oh, can Siri translate? Good call.
I'll ask. I'll ask her. Ask it.
As you walk forward, Siri, what the hell does this even say? The mask somewhat lights up. I want to say a whole bunch of things flash across the front of it and all that, but that's a little too much. So, your mask does glow as you see the words seem to highlight in your vision, blurring for a moment, before indeed your eyes receive a translation, as if it was written there clear as day in the stonework. Glancing around, though, you do lose the map and other properties while using this feature. It's only able to use one at a time. You see, it has indeed been translated to your character's common tongue. I think we said your default language was Draconic, and you learned Common. Was that how that went? I'm just double-checking because I'm...
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, her family would have, when she was a child, she would have spoken Draconic with her family.
So it'd be written out in Draconic on either of these, with the arrow pointing to either of a doorway at the end of these hallways, because you'd see that moving that close. It says Eden, pointing at either doorway. As for the rating on the wall here, with an arrow pointing towards this door, it says Assembly Hall.
Want to go see Eden?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess this is... We can hear the water and animals and stuff quite strongly now, or is it still quiet?
Making your way towards the doors,
What?
you can indeed hear the animals and other things a little more clearly.
My chest hurts, so if you don't hear from me, just make sure I'm still alive, okay?
Alrighty.
Thanks.
Let's,
I will yell
Please
at Dean
don't
to go
die.
check on you.
I think it's gas, but also it could be my muscles because I've been slouched over for a while. I think it's just my back muscles have locked up a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fine. I'm horizontal right now. Just don't mind me if I don't move flex at all.
I will be honest, I put a lot of work to make sure my top of my monitors are pupil height, my back is usually straight, my chair will support me well, it's ergonomic. I put a lot of work into that crap at work because I put my back out a couple years ago because of that shit. Oh, no.
Yeah.
So you take it easy
Very
for sure,
sensible.
Jillian.
No, I'm definitely fine. I don't know
Oh, yeah.
what I was mostly joking, but I don't have a setup. I still just sit on the spare bed and
My,
sit there.
Mine, I had a bicycle injury about 10, 12 years ago, and I damaged my sciatic, and now I have sciatica because of it that can trigger. It's been a few years, thankfully.
Oh no.
And, like, literally, it's that, damn it, I'm laid up for the day on the couch, or bed, or whatever. That's... it's just the nerve will go. It's been a few years, though, thankfully. I've been taking care of myself. But, yeah, it's basically... it's more or less someone kicked me in the back, and now it's like, correct your posture. If you do not, you'll regret it. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to regret it? Why does my back hurt? I'm not that old. And then my birthday says to me, yes, you are! Oh. I don't wish it on nobody. So every now and again, it'll trigger every couple years. Last time I slipped in the parking lot on ice, caught my door, my back went, and it was like, Arr! I'm like walking sideways into the office. My boss is like, what's wrong with you? I need to sit down.
I was expecting you to just be like calling Sandy from the ground, be like, you gotta come get me. You've gotta come get me. I'm done. I'm done. You gotta bring something to scrape me off the icy ground with.
Oh, the worst. They take me into the hospital first time it happens when I really trigger it bad. I'm at the doctor's place and they're like, oh, that's impressive. You know, we rate scale on a pain from 0 to 160. I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, yeah, you're sitting at about a 130. That's about the most you're going to feel. I'm like, I broke my arm in 3 places. He goes, yeah, that's pretty close too. That's about a 120 to 125. But I'm like, yeah, this does hurt worse. And he goes, you know what? And I'm like, well, he goes, we go up to 160 because that's what women get for childbirth at the worst. And I'm like, you don't say that when I'm in pain. And so literally saying to me, suck it up.
Yeah.
Oh. And at the same time, I'm like, oof. When I hear that, I just feel bad for ladies at that point, if the pain can hit that sort of levels and the worst. But give us some drugs, give the meds, give the pain, anything to get rid of. So, you know, I go easy on my back or I'm going to cry. But while I've been blabbing, hopefully that's given you all some time to think about your decision. Whether or not to head north towards the doors themselves that say Eden, or towards a general assembly hall to the east.
I think we should go to Eden. Go check it out.
Yeah. Let's check out Eden.
I'll save you a step on this one, Dan. Jade will be a little shocked as he goes to examine the doors, because, you know, That's been your job so far in this dungeon, locked doors in horrible places. These ones aren't locked, however. The doors themselves can be opened very easily. As you go to initially try to pick, your character would just notice they're unlocked. The doors are ajar. It doesn't happen often, but further leads to the name.
Door, not a jar. That'd be silly.
Alright, here goes.
And as you open the door, you are greeted with a rather interesting sight. I'm just going to move the other minis so we're all up near to par here so everybody can see the same thing. There just happens to be a lot of you, and... bam. As the door opens wide, you're greeted to a very warm sight indeed. Where I have walls physically drawn that you can see here do represent a boundary, but not per the norm, because you immediately feel the air and wind breezing past your face, as the only thing you truly notice in this area. It looks as though there are 3 doors. Or sorry, 2 doors, because the DM can't count. One here, and one at the opposite side of the room, floating in mid-air. Above the ground, at the ground level, mind you, but no walls around them. It's almost like you've stepped outside on a beautiful sunny day at 9:34 in the morning. Clouds roll by overhead, and the sun shines down beautifully. The land goes on as far as the eye can see in all directions, with beautiful meadows and hills. However, the ground before you still remains tiled, much like the rest of the area, but there are gardens that have been set up. And you've all been wise not to move your minis in yet, because as usual, there's always a catch in my games. This beautiful area with a sun shining overhead providing warmth is filled with crops. You can see them. Should be 8 fully running. Some of them carrying various vegetables and designs that you can see, others with cabbages, including that strange special one that I said was delicious for Flux's character. Numerous berry bushes of various styles and design, even trees off to the side that carry various fruits, many that you've seen and a few you never had, large veggies and crops. Another filled with vegetables, and then 4 different brands of mushroom, some of which pulsate. One field that looks like it may have contained trees of sorts, however, has long since died. Because one other thing stands out that you hear as you walk into this room is you hear the sound of a blade drawn, cutting through the air with a wonderful wisp of a hit. Some mechanical creature underneath a cloak stands with said scythe, slicing through the wheat fields to the north. What's truly impressive is you see they regrow so very quick, though it takes a few moments. Glancing through, you can see one of these standing in every field, though motionless, and the one that holds the sickle even returning to the motionless as well, after tending to its field and chopping it down in moments, though the field does slowly begin to regrow. There's also purple petals floating through the air at all times from the trees over this way, which seem to create a somewhat magical effect on the air, blowing and billowing, almost like autumn leaves through the air, but with a little bit of a purple design to them. And you know what? I'll have a lovely elemental effect on that beforehand. What do your characters do? Small stone walls, big enough that you can simply hop over them. They won't impede movement. Surround each of these gardens, separating the tile from earth. And of course, if you feel to where there would actually be stone wall, you do find a solid area, a visible wall blocking further movement. Though outside of that, it really does feel like you just stepped outside on a beautiful, warm summer's day.
Take a big deep snifter of that fresh country air.
And just to confirm, this one is like this guy fell apart, and then this thing.
Glancing from
Like
as far
died?
back as you are, it does appear that one of them may have actually malfunctioned and is offline. Its entire field long since have died.
Do any of the constructs react when Alex steps into the room?
None of them respond as your feet echo on the stone tile work beneath them. And I will take a moment to lean back and point out that every fruit or vegetable or anything of the sort that you can think of throughout all of D&D, including 5th edition, or even in real life or random stuff like that, basically can be found here. It is a cornucopia of food and items. Though admittedly, it does seem a little...
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Jillian.
No. I thought you were done. I apologize. I was just gonna say I was hearing something in the background that was very, very familiar, but it was one of those things that it was so familiar, like it was kind of white noise, like my ears just filtered out automatically. And I was like, no, what is it? And I listened, and it's the coo of a mourning dove. I hear it all the time when I'm walking Fergus.
Oh,
It's,
nice.
The low, like, I don't know. I wouldn't do a good job knowing, but you guys know what it sounds like.
Oh yeah. I'm not about
So
to do it
wonder-
either. Like, I'm not about to do it either.
Or was I just hearing that from outside? So I'm not hearing it right now.
No, this bird song here.
There's birdsong, but I don't think quite the one that she was talking about.
I definitely heard it. I wonder if it was just outside though, instead of like in this track.
Or maybe he turned it off just to mess with us.
I did turn the
No,
track
it
up
wouldn't be
just a
that
step.
devious.
It's a bit of a quiet ambiance, so I turned the track up a step just in case. But if it is,
Enjoying
it's,
it very much.
Oh, thank you. I like it. It's a little more peaceful than what you've been used to so far. Most times in the campaign, it's how much heavy metal and Latin music can I fit in for this scary-ass moment.
I think it must have been outside because I'm not hearing it in the track at all right now.
Yeah, you probably got a mourning dove nearby. then.
Bizarre. It blended right in. It was bizarre. Anyway, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no
Unnecessary derailing.
worries. I will add, as Dean walks forward in the room, the well does have water in it. It's a little ways down, but you could definitely send the bucket and pull some up.
Oh yeah, I was. I think Alec would just walk through like and run his fingers along the plant growth, gladiator style. You know, when he's having his visions, and then I'll draw up a bucket of water.
As you turn to reach for the stick to draw up a bucket of water, you find yourself suddenly face to face with one of the cloak automatons. Its hand lands on the stick a moment before yours, however, as it pulls up a full bucket of water, catches it and turns, pouring it into another bucket it had, before walking back to the grove of trees over here, splashing it across the ground, turning to its main position and once again going completely motionless. But when that creature leaned in, nice and close, you'd have gotten a clear view of the face of a type of automaton that you have certainly fought before.
Oh boy.
It is in the track, by the way, you guys. I know nobody cared, but it wasn't in the part of the loop that I was talking about, but I heard it again. It was definitely in the track.
Oh, it is in the track?
It's a hoo, hoo, hoo.
I'm gonna listen for it.
That's a morning dove. I'll let you know if it goes again. I'll interrupt you and say it. You were talking and I didn't want to interrupt you.
No worries. I like it. It's pretty. And it was good enough you thought it was real. I love tabletop. Yep.
Yeah, that's a morning dove. Anyway, sorry.
So you've got Flux walking into this area, peering around and squinting, as a bird lands on her shoulder singing, and she goes, "Yeah, that's a morning dove. Look at that." Keeps going. Oh, I'm running with it. You pinged that one perfectly. So your character is going to be able to pick that as well as it lands. And it's going to stick around on your character's shoulder quite casually.
A little scritch.
You know what? This bird's going full Disney, leaning into it and all that. Does the sing and hop back and forth and stays where it is. Most likely a magical construct, judging by the nature of this area in this room. But the food is very much real. That's for sure.
I think I probably can't resist the mystery of it yet. Alec's going to make his way over to the dead field and try and figure out what happened.
As you walk over, moving through, you notice that the supplies in the middle of the room, what's been harvested and handled, is in fact fresh as can be. The apples look as exceptionally ripe, as do the oranges, as do many of the pieces of mushroom that have been cut up and placed in there as well. Though you don't know how long they've been sitting there, you would assume freshly harvested. But it can be said for everything that you look upon on that area. Now, as for this dead garden at a glance, it does appear to be a number of wilted trees that have long since died and calcified, standing where they are, and one of those enforcers lying offline, completely broken down in the middle of the garden.
As we've been kind of exploring this room a little bit, on occasion, does each of these constructs go and draw water, then take it back to their respective field?
You've only been in a couple minutes, and that's only happened the one time so far. I could
All right,
certainly
I'll
skip
keep-
15 minutes if the party just wanted to watch and see what happens.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for it. I think it should be something fairly easy to kind of passively keep an eye on. But I guess Alec will pick up a handful of dirt and feel if it feels dried out and barren, I suppose.
As you do, everybody give me a perception check. And also, if you'd be so kind as to place your minis in this room where they would belong.
Oh boy.
And just because it incorporates a crap ton of lag at this side, I'm going to turn the clouds back off and leave it so that it's just the leaves floating through the air. But even that I might turn off to reduce lag. Once it's this big maps. So you got a 21, a 29, and a 22.
If I had to do it, I assumed no because I was...
Oh no, you got to do it too.
Alright, cool.
Everyone has passed so far. So of course your character passes bloody 35. What the hell is that? Nox and Fulminoxus pretty much get the same roll, 22 and 23. They're probably both like tapping each other on the arm. Look at that! You know what I mean? If they're near each other. But feel free to place anyone wherever you'd like on here. Except in the dirt, of course, because this is the first interaction as Dean's character leans in to scoop up some dirt. Is everyone standing out at the doorway? You know what? I'm gonna grab.
I'm trying to move mine. It's just going really slow.
Actually, I will go ahead and turn the effects off entirely because they do eat up a lot of processing power with a map this big, and that should make a difference as they fade away.
I mean, I could just refresh too. Like, I don't know if it's. Oh, there it goes.
You can feel
For
free
some
to
reason,
move your
the-
character across the walls to get to where you need to go, mind you. I haven't put any restrictions on the grounds.
I'm just gonna. No. I was trying to use the arrows and it wasn't working. I'm just gonna put Flux by the blue flowers because my favorite flower is forget-me-nots.
Oh, nice. They'll be in there, nestled in among berries and among other features. Flux may have even been leaning forward like, are those real, fresh, big, juicy blueberries? I might have to go grab a couple of those. However-
She does not.
No.
She's not
Don't-
stupid enough to touch things.
Let's be honest, Flux is leaning forward, rubbing the chin as she's thinking, I want to grab some. But she's leaning back, rubbing the chin. Jade's probably the one who's just about to pull a carrot up or something. I am saying, for the purpose of canon, that Dean's character Alec is the first to interact directly by scooping up a pitch of ground, as mentioned. So if anybody wants to say your character was doing anything else, let's check. Dan, what's Jade up to at this moment?
Staying in a corner watching.
Leaning back with the arms crossed, just waiting for stuff to go south, which of course they're about to. And Flux, of course, sees the blueberries, because I went with blueberries, but she's just checking out some plants. What about Nimbar? He's got a few moments before all this goes down. He's like, in that case, I'm casting this boost spell and this boost. You don't have yourself on hard mute, do you, John?
I totally do. I said he was sitting there kind of observing with Alec, talking with him over, like, everything, so...
You may have been ignored then for a little too long if you've been on mute, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, probably.
My apologies, friend. Alrighty, so...
No worries, it's on me for muting myself.
You all notice, however, at the exact same time, each of those constructs in the room's heads turn and twist, looking towards Alec, as they straighten up, draw up their weapons, and begin to march towards him, far too fast to be anything other than deadly. So everyone feel free to go ahead and roll for initiative. And I'll take care of Courtney's character on the initiative run. Ooh, I rolled a 20. Oh, Sadness Chan very rude to me. She's like, you just learned to count above 1. You will forget soon enough.
Your
See,
true
that's
skill
even
shines
politer.
through.
Okay, so I gotta add a d8 to that. 2. I will roll above a 4 in this d8 one day.
Hang on. The whole thing just glitched out to hell. Like, that's the second time Foundry's done that, and I think I know what caused it, but it accidentally cleared the initiative and everything.
So
And
do
then
we have
these
to
ones-
re-roll initiative?
I will let you, because I saw some of those rolls were not great.
So it's the guy who rolled a 1.
I don't know. I got a
Amazing.
I got a 17. I think I'll stick with the 17. That's fairly high for Alec.
I got a 2 on my re-roll.
Well,
I mean,
you know,
technically
be careful what you
better.
wish for.
I mean,
better
it's
than
strictly
one.
better.
Heck, it's twice as good.
I am not destined to do well in this one particular one.
Oh boy. Oh, I should roll for my owl as well.
I'm gonna use an old
Alright.
classic for this fight. That's an 11 for Flux. I'll do a manual update on there for you. And Dean, did you roll yet?
Yeah, I got a 17.
All right, 1 second
What?
here.
15 for my initiative, then 2 for the gift of alacrity.
Oops. That's better. I accidentally called your character 17. It's like, this is not Dragon Ball Z.
Oh wow, Jay, did we really switch initiatives? I rolled the one, you rolled 2, then I rolled 2, you rolled 1.
17 won the Tournament of Power. Well, maybe that's a good sign. I'll take that.
Hi, I'm Jade's second turn. I go at -4. You know, I'm just... Can I make him invisible? Still have him good. I can toggle him invisible, so no one sees him, and I don't have to worry about it messing up the map, and he's still in the initiative order that way. And you all see him in the initiative order. Huzzah! That makes life easier. All right. So do you know who goes first?
Oh, I'll guess that it's the most
Bellamy.
of the enemies.
Wrong, it's Bellamy.
Or, oh yeah, with a natural 20. Yes.
Actually, I had to re-roll them all, so I lost my nat 20, and her initiative order is just really sweet boost. So, and I gotta double check, because I think Alec has more dex than an enforcer. Yes, you do. I'm just adjusting this. I really should turn back on the tiebreakers. Who else tied up? Kamashag and Nox. I'm not too worried. We can just decide when you get to that point, because that's friendly.
He's
Wait.
gonna fly away and hide, so we don't really need to worry about his
Bigger
his
problem.
turn.
Jillian, who goes first? You or not you?
I mean, I think I would.
All right, so we're gonna
I'm just
update that.
I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
John.
I agree.
That's how it works. If it's ever the
I
choice
sh-
between you and your simulacral, I'm giving it to Jillian.
Absolutely.
I can hit that, can't I? Because I'm 10 feet away from it.
Oh yeah, we'll get there,
Oh.
mind you. Because first up, who gets in bardic inspiration from Bellamy?
Oh, I thought. Right. Sorry. Zoned out for a second there.
No worries. I didn't actually start the combat, so I wasn't even on the right turn anyway. What's that at here?
I mean, I would probably go for Jade getting bardic inspiration, so he can land those sweet sneak attacks. But whomever.
Pardon me for a second, Dan. There we go. Just had to do with how I layered minis on your mini. So, Dan, you just got boosted then. If no one else has any complaints on that, I'm gonna go ahead. I got a nice symbol for that. Let's use this one. You're empowered. That's going to be it for her turn. So we have the first enforcer that's going to make its first turn, which happens to be the one carrying the scythe in hand.
Oh boy.
They spread their wings wide, clearing the area to you in moments as they screech out loud. bringing out bladed arm. And then lands in front of you, screeching in your face as a golden glow erupts from its eyes. I'm going to need you to make a con save.
Okie dokie. I don't know why my icon is Bellamy, but
You may have accidentally somehow magically selected her. But with a 26 on your con save, assuming that's your character's con, because it's a plus
Yeah.
10. Yeah, that looks right.
yeah.
26 is enough to evade the effect, as it attempts to slow you down with that glare. A blinding shot would have been enough to do it. Unfortunately, it can only target a single creature with that. However, I'm also 5 feet too close. And it's going to come to this point. Being within 10 feet is close enough for it to scream. And then it's going to fly back 20 feet more to end its turn. And the next one here is going to do the same, as it has not taken notice of anyone else.
I hit it. It's out of my melee range.
Yep, by all means take a whack because it was in your 10 foot.
Is it holding a weapon?
Its very claws themselves are bladed, though it is carrying a generic farm implement.
Don't suppose I could try my disarming strike to cut one of the arms off, could I?
I'll
Is that a
allow it
little
for
bit
these
too
type of
OP?
enemies. For this type of enemy, I will allow it, just because they are an armed enemy. In general,
Okay.
it's hard attack to make, but constructs, especially ones that don't truly carry intelligence, are certainly easily subjectable.
Well, first I'll have to see if I hit it,
Yep.
which I never like to get too cocky about. Once again, I've lost where my weapon is on my sheet.
Didn't do a re-import or anything, did we? Let me just double check. There's
I don't know.
services range. Oh, here.
It's not
You actually
under
didn't have
action.
it equipped, so it wasn't under actions. I re-equipped it. It should be there now.
Oh, okay.
As you give a swing to the mighty fangs, Sarades's rage. The blade so long and so broad, of course it's going to nail an enemy with a 30 bloody 5. You roll your damage as you cleave. And don't forget to toss me up the stats for the
Disarming
extra.
strike?
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it's a D12, but I'm just gonna find it and show it to you. Did I unlearn it? Oh no, I didn't.
Oh no, I mean like what save do I have to roll?
Strength saving throw DC 23, I believe.
Oh,
Yes, DC 23.
Hey, it's not giving me the option to
Yes.
apply this damage. There we go. I'm lazy. Let me be lazy.
Oh, that's an unfortunate roll on my D12.
They fail the check, and you cleave one of their arms clean off.
And we determined that that's actually short a D6, so I'm gonna roll one more D6.
Alright.
I'll just stick with force damage because it's been doing pretty well for me.
Wait, is it? It is short of D6. That's a quick fix. I'll do that right now
Yeah.
while we're doing this.
Does the slasher feat would trigger?
Oh yeah, its movement would be reduced by 10 as well, because I hit it with a slashing attack.
Probably doesn't change anything. I think they're crazy.
Probably
bad.
not. I imagine they probably have like 60 feet per round or something like that. Probably more. I'm just gonna go pee really quick.
Yep, and I'll have your sword fixed for when you get back. That should do it. Let me test her blade. There we go, 3d6. I'm just going to delete those that I put on there. So, as the Kintyre Enforcer rushes forward and takes a swing with its mighty armed blades at your character now, This one came into close range for this. And you have an AC of 22?
No, my new armor makes it to 26.
Alright, let me just do a custom upgrade, because I don't think it's got that on here. Or if it does, it might have both equipped. Did I ever re-import your character?
Maybe not. So I think that was my AC with my studied leather.
Let me just do a quick re-import. Let's hope this doesn't ruin my day. Forgot this takes a while for a level 20. There we go. It's got your old picture on there, unfortunately.
No worries.
But it does have your AC up to date. But your token, that one's still good. So, we got 26 AC. First attack is a hit as it breaks through your incredible armor, but the second is not. The third attack, it's not a hit as well. And the fourth attack is a critical failure. One of those bladed hands manages to connect and does a whopping 18 points of slashing damage against your form.
Okay.
Now it's your turn.
Was that 18 its total damage?
Yep.
Just that, because I'm like permanent Super Saiyan just now, because my star form's free to keep up. I have resistance to slashing.
So, oh, nice. That's only 9 points of slashing damage then.
Take the edge off.
LOL.
Yep. So I guess I will, at the start of my turn, I think that I'll stay in my archer form, my archer constellation, but I'll use my action because they're coming for. Well, first off, with my interactive object or whatever, I just throw the dart back in the garden, and then I'll let's see. I will turn into I think I've been defaulting to a direwolf, so I'll turn into a starry direwolf, and just kinda that'll be my action, and bonus action. Even it'll be a disadvantage, but I'll shoot whatever this is, my bonus action ranged attack from the direwolf's mouth. 29.
I just love the idea of like you getting like the direwolf getting up on its back two paws and like firing a bow and arrow made of stars. I refuse to accept any other form of this at this point.
So the image is in our head now.
What about back up on the back legs in like a Kamehameha wave?
One second, I must reload the page. I imported a dire wolf, and my foundry basically said, "Nah, I'm gonna stop working right now."
Dare you?
There we go.
So I don't know how that works, like space wise, because a direwolf is large, so I don't know if it pushes people or me out the way. No, it's a big deal. I can just be like here, and it gets a bit squiffy when you change size categories.
So you're doing a wild shape into your direwolf?
Yep.
There you go. You just gotta pick where you're gonna be. So you can be in that spot, or that spot, or that spot, or that spot, essentially. The rules are pretty strict in that you cannot end willingly in another creature's space. So after you've made this change, you will have to move yourself.
Yep. Okay, I guess I'll just oh, what's going on here? There we go. I'll just oh, the game's paused, so I can't move the token.
Now try.
Yep, because I had to reload. It pauses if the DM boots.
I guess. Yeah, I'd probably go there. I probably wouldn't be thinking about touching the dirt or whatever. And then I did my bonus action attack hit with a 29.
Sorry, phone started buzzing.
Oh, no worries.
A 29 is a hit.
Alright. Alright, 15 radiant damage. Yep.
All right.
Radiant damage.
You blast the one-armed enforcer for 15 points of radiant damage, as a wolf somehow shoots an arrow.
I like to think like the archer, this constellation is like the arrow is pointing down the head, almost Avatar style. So his eyes just light up and the blast comes out of the wolf's mouth. But
Okay, alternatively, what could happen is you could have like, you know how like you have points of a star to make a constellation with a line going through.
yeah,
So like a constellation archer just sitting on your back with the bow and arrow.
oh yeah, it's pretty cool as well.
The dog from Little Nicky.
Little Nicky.
I've not seen that film in a long time. But
That's the closest a Google image search I'll find, and I really shouldn't have Google image searched that. I got a lot of bad things coming up.
oh no.
I forgot the internet is the internet.
Well, I'm going to end my turn before Alan feels compelled to make any more bad searches, because now I feel bad.
And you should, too. On the flip side, I found the other way for the person, too. It's like opposite direction. I was just looking for a wolf shooting an arrow or some shit, you know? Something basic.
Yep.
And I wanted it to look ridiculous, but no, the internet is like, oh, we know what you're looking for. And I'm like, no, you really don't this time. Oh, my eyes. Thank God that's
dear.
not recorded. All right, so your wolf successfully shoots an arrow right out of its mouth, just launches one off. Nimbar's probably looking fascinated, and I don't know, maybe you just give him the wink like, oh yeah, this ain't nothing for me.
I must have done weirder things by now.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Oh, always forget to actually click.
That'll be the follow-up question if there was anything for your character's turn.
No, that was that. I've used both my actions.
With 45, as they fly through the air, wings spread wide, this one rushes in on your character as well, taking advantage of advantage as it swings 4 times at your character. Wow. I'm just giving Sadness Jams reason to make fun of me. So many reasons. That one's a hit, though.
Oh, my AC's changed to like it's like 14 is I think a dire wolf. I just transformed for the
So
health pool.
let me roll damage, because the first one's a hit, the second one and third one might be, but I see Nimbar's dropping silvery barbs on the first one.
I thought you said the first one was a crit. So.
The first one's a hit.
Oh, it's hit.
Yep.
Whatever, I've already thrown it off. Might as well.
Alright, so you use silvery barb. And they re-roll a d20. And must use the lower of the rolls. That's still a hit. As the roll is actually very low.
Jade, you look like you need advantage, buddy.
What changes up is whether or not the additional shots hit, because since you're in a morphed form, 10 damage for the first hit.
Reduced to 5, so still a wolf.
17 damage on the second hit.
So that would be reduced to 8.
32 damage on the third hit.
Jeebus.
That's 16 points.
Still a wolf. It's barely. But
And for the fourth attack, which is also a hit, as it cuts into your wolf form, 15 points of slashing damage.
So that would be halved to
7.
Still a wolf with 1 HP in my wolf form.
Still at 1 HP, not bad.
Yeah, well, I mean that resistance really helps you keep the animal form. So that would start adding up if I was in my base form.
Alright, first attack that swings in is 12 points of slashing as they connect against your dire wolf.
Okay, so that'll be
6 points.
Yep,
5
6
carryover.
points, 5 carryover to my base form. Yep, alright.
So that was
Batter
15
up.
feet. Alright. They are going to forego their next attack to make an attempt to grab you instead. So you go ahead and give me either an athletics or an acrobatics check against their athletics check.
Okay,
As they forego one of their 4 attacks for this. A 19, unfortunately, is a fail as the Enforcer grabs you with their one free arm. They cackle almost as their wings spread wide. Stone Face looks towards the ceiling. And where they had used 20 feet of movement so far to get where they are, that leaves them with exactly 35 feet of movement to go up into the air. And as you're both now floating, held up by the Enforcer. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for you. Oh wait, no, this isn't the one-armed bandit. That's that one. Never mind. It does have a free hand to still attack you. And your character's AC at this point, however, is considerably higher, 26. So
Yep.
only one of the attacks hit, as you take a whopping total of 19 points of slashing damage, as the Enforcer continues to carry your character higher into the air.
Gotcha.
Now, time for Jillian's turn, the real Flux. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Just because
Okay.
the tied initiatives, right?
Big question is, can I get to them? I've got Lulu's Blessing. Let me reread it. Once per round, I can double dash. But I'd have to take the dash action. That would mean no attacks.
Welcome to Mario
minutes.
Kart Double Dash. Welcome to Lulu's special Double Dash.
35. I could hit this one for sure. Oops. Ooh, no, I did not mean to do that. I am so sorry. Sure, I just hit the thingy. Anyway, okay. Could make it to this one. I could make it to... Could just make it to that one. Actually... Can make it to pretty much all of them. Where the action is. Be a step back. Yeah. And I'm gonna hit Danny. Oh yeah, that one's barely injured. Okay, so I'll hit this one that's injured. Is that the one that's flying? Actually?
They're all technically hovering about, but the one that's flying is this one up here, 35 feet in the air. That jumped up
Oh,
with Alec
yeah,
in tow.
gotcha. Sure.
This one here,
Okay.
though, this is in range. You've already chopped one of their arms off.
I will finish my, finish that one off, or try to.
All right. So you go ahead and swing those 4 attacks that you've waited so many levels to swing. It's funny, I always see people online, they're like, oh, but that level 20 doing 4 attacks, that would be nice. Well, let me tell you, it is nice, especially when you're given a big sword. A 20, unfortunately, is going to be a miss. A 19, unfortunately, is going to be a miss, as the dice seem to have forsaken you. 33 is a hit. $25's a hit. So you go ahead and roll your damage.
I think I got rid of Precision Strike, but I'm just gonna look again. Ooh, no, I haven't.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, so the wording on Precision Attack, when you make a weapon attack roll, you can expend 1 superiority die to add it to the roll before or after the roll, but before any effects are applied. So where I know that the 20 misses, would that mean that I couldn't apply it? I'm not going to be offended, I just genuinely don't know what the ruling is.
Let me double check. Because I'll let it go for this one, because it's not something that's been used in a while. But I believe it's one of those, after you attack, before you know the outcome, I think is the wording. But this time I'd let it go, because it's been, you even said,
Yeah.
wait, do I have that still? So, yeah,
In all honesty, I at this level, I would have a suspicion that 20 wouldn't hit anyway. So even if I didn't know what their AC was, if I knew for sure that I had precision attack, I might have just used it. I just like to roll
Just
all of my
before any
attacks
effects.
at once.
Before any effects of the
Yeah.
attack are applied, so that's fair. Yeah, you go ahead, add precision to the first one.
Oh, that should hit. That
That's
makes
a
it
hit.
32. Yeah, so that'll hit 3 times instead of 4, but
And there's nothing you can do to help on that one, so.
the 12 adds on to the damage, I believe.
Yep. That's the roll. Oh, just to the roll.
So the roll. Okay, that's fine. Sorry.
Still,
I get
plus-
it mixed up with the other ones.
There's so many, and they're very handy
Yeah.
at this level. 34, 36. Dean's on a quick be right back. He just had his turn, though, so that's okay. And we're getting to a point today anyway where we'll have to take a break. I figure we'll get through the first round, because this is going to be a heck of a fight. 34, 36, and 30 damage total.
Plus 3d6.
As you carve. Oh no, I've already got those built in now. I fixed it.
Oh, did you? Oh, I'm so sorry. Disregard that 13. I'm sorry.
You were off taking a quick break when I fixed it. I was like, I'll get it now. Ha ha ha. So now it does 3d6. He's still the next time
Awesome.
we import and I forget again. That's good to go as you carve in and make them look badly injured. Anything else for Flux's turn?
No, I'll take my shield out though for my bonus action.
Alrighty. John. You're up with Flum Nox. Wait, what? This is just wrong. Nox's turn now.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and I should go ahead.
Nox hasn't had time to attune to everything, but we can still use the Blade of Avernus as a +3 weapon. I think she can only get to the 1. So moves up there. I hope this rolls properly.
$31 is a hit.
That looks like it's doing great. So she gets 4 attacks.
Yep. 21 is a miss.
Do we precision attack this one, guys?
That's your character now, man. Jillian's like, hey, I do enough work with the Ginsuing. Now you have to be responsible for
Here,
it.
I did wash my hands of this.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we do because, like, unlike you, we don't get this back.
I'll
So
back.
1, 2,
Yeah, you don't get any of those
Sorry.
back. So
3.
18's a miss. Also means you don't get the action surges back either, or any of those things. So be careful.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and then 4th attack.
And welcome back, Jillian. Or Dean, rather.
Oh my god. Yeah, so 1 hits.
As you see Nox attempting to tear into an enforcer while Fulminox completely begins obliterating one. The other Nox looks over, points at the sword, and you see probably Jillian's actual character pointing at her sword, smiling, the other one frowning like, could we switch? No.
You gotta step into your strikes, Nox. Step into it when you strike.
Alright, so yeah, it looks like this calculates properly. So,
Oh yeah, it's all added in. It gets all of her bonuses.
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm just making sure, because she's not attuned to this sword. I wanted to make sure she does the correct damage for it.
Oh yeah,
First.
but not today.
Because she's only had time to attune to one thing, which is the Dancing Thunderbolt. And miss with that as well. That is Nox's turn.
All right. Kamashag's turn. He's probably having nothing to do with any of this.
Yep.
Though, I will say one cool thing I read up on. You can have them fly in and take the help action and then fly back to your shoulder, giving someone else advantage on an attack.
I thought that would make them.
It makes them a target in combat, of
Yeah.
course. And when you have enemies with this much health, you'll probably get offed. But I point this out because one of my players in a different game brought it up, and I was like, I wonder if you can. And I looked up, and Crawford's like, that's exactly what you can do with them. But yeah, he'll be offed.
Yeah. I mean, I can bring them back for free now that I have unlimited wild shapes. So
I was about to point that out.
So, you say fly in, give the help action, then fly out. Do they need to stay there until the other person's turn's finished?
Nope. That's the thing that I thought they had to do was stay there, but no. You can go in, take the help action at the enemy, and give a specific ally advantage, and then fly out.
And it has
Okay.
and it has flyby, so it doesn't provoke attack of opportunities.
Right. Okay. Does these fly speed work here?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I guess he's got 60 feet of fly speed, so I guess he'll well, I feel like the only person needing help just now is Nox, so maybe
For it.
maybe he'll fly over to Nox and help somehow, however, and I will help a 7 foot tall dragonborn.
Flies in and scratches.
Yeah, I'm sure Murph has described this once or twice, where like they like flap in the faces of like the enemy, so they can't really see very well.
Yeah, okay.
Remember with Moonshine and the Pixies?
Yeah. So I can't move his token for some reason. Don't know why that's happening, but
I got him. I can't move this token. What the heck?
oh, well, I mean, if
I'm switching up to the next turn. I'm just going to delete him off and put him back
Yeah.
in. Kamashag, you weird little thing.
So he'll fly up to Nox, which I think is like 20 foot of his movement, give her the help action, and then he's got 40 foot remaining, so he'll fly well out of, well, as out of trouble as he thinks he can get, so I guess he'll fly over to the wall and just like wait to jump into whoever else.
Presses him against the wall, trying to blend in.
Yeah. Or maybe he'll hide underneath a leaf or something, like, God, don't hurt me. But yeah, okay, that'll be his turn. Yeah.
Ducks up, down with a feathery thumbs up like Donald Duck. We're gonna throw over to another one of the enforcers, and let me see. Oh. They have an incredible fly speed, obviously. Always fun when things lock up a little bit. Oh, God. So I was like, oh, they have a specific fly feat, but you're 35 feet in the air and 75 feet away. A squared plus B squared plus C squared equals, and my computer says, now! I'm like, could you please? And it says, now! But A squared, B squared, C squared, that's like 80-something. I don't expect players to do that. I give you that movement for free. But it can cross the 85 feet required to make the triangular distance to actually be 35 feet up in the air. See, I'm giving every edge I can to try to help Dean's character out, but unfortunately now it's flying on par and has advantage to strike you. 4 times.
Alright, I'm buckled up.
I'm rolling a lot of nat ones on this one.
Good.
And your AC is?
26.
So I get 2 hits with the blade in air. The first one, a brutal hit for 23 points of damage. Slashing damage, of course. And the second one, 17 points of slashing damage, which drops to an 8.
Yep.
So 11 and 8 damage. 19 points of damage total. As that
Oh, boy.
enforcer's turn comes to an end. And this enforcer needs to be within about 75 of you. Yep. And it's going to soar in for similar reason as it's going to go 35 feet into the air. Probably never so happy you got that new suit of armor. It doesn't have advantage on the attack, however. But it's not going to give up any difference in trying to hit you.
What?
So many fails.
I don't know why I'm saying it, but what doesn't it? Am I not surrounded by that one as well?
No, that one's on the ground. You're lucky.
Oh, okay, I see.
Wow. Despite the fact that you're dangling like a piñata, this fourth one rushes in, and with all the moves that it can, swiping claws at you, they reflect off your armor and you deftly dodge them. Though you hang injured in air, you still seem okay. Jade's turn next. What is your evil plan, Dan? If you're just looking to maximize damage, I will remind that the flying sword doesn't take up a space. You can always stand right there for advantage, but you've also got bardic inspiration.
He also has advantage anyway because of silvery barbs.
Oh yeah, right. Shoot, you're stacked. Someone is going to say ow.
Yeah, here's the... Quick question. The edge of the room, that counts as a wall I can walk on, does it not?
Oh yeah. You literally look like you're walking on air though. But you can definitely do that. Because you're thinking to get over to these guys.
Sunshine.
If I bonus action dash, I can move 90 feet, which would put me 5 feet below all of them.
You can also Lulu dash for that bonus action.
No, I have to use my action to dash. You specifically worded it in there that said if you use your action to dash, you can do.
Oh right, I did
an
that
extra dash.
specifically because it would cause a lot of headaches otherwise. Right, thank you. I almost gave out too much of the farm on that one.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would be another 45 feet on top of that.
But with 90 feet of movement, you're going to have no trouble getting up to the same level as these guys who are here. You could almost reach Alec. Heck, you could even get over to this spot and be above them if you wanted. However you want to run it.
So the question is, do I attack or do I pull Alec out of that location?
I've got a couple of ideas for escaping. So if you'd rather just attack, that's cool. So it's up to you.
Just so you know, I'm saving my reaction to catch you.
Right. Okay, I'm hoping it won't come to that, but we'll see. They've still got a few turns left, so
I just figured I'd point that out.
yeah.
Alright, then I'll attack. I'll hit this guy to Alec's left.
Alright. Well, all left in this situation. As Jade rushes into position, and also you go high enough that you don't trigger an attack of opportunity from this guy. You have more than enough speed. You go ahead Make your attack roll against the entire Enforcer that has Alec pinned. .32 is definitely a hit. You go ahead and roll up that damage against the Enforcer. .28 points of damage. And let's not forget your sneak attack as you throw it to the roof. 35 on the sneak attack, plus 28 as well, as you lay in some serious damage to the Enforcer. Though looking barely injured, you've shaved off a good chunk anyway. These things have so much health.
That's my turn.
So Nimber is going to pull out his scroll, cast Tasha's Mind Whip, targeting. Sorry, so it's a level 2 spell, but based off it being like the wizard, the scribes thing, it is going to be cast at level 3, which lets it target 2 creatures. We will target this particular one. And I guess this one.
John, I believe it's pronounced whip.
What?
Whip. Whip.
So they need to make DC 26 saving throws.
All right.
Not a
So-
particularly high roll.
They both do fail on their savings throw, so they can no longer take
Okay.
reactions.
Yeah, and then next turn they get to do one thing. Be it attack, bonus action. Attack, move, or bonus action. Only gets one of those.
Okay. I think I remembered people talking about this spell on one of the forums or whatever, saying this is power creep, right? A level 2 spell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Tasha's Mind Whip's pretty vicious.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah.
Anything else for Nimbar's turn?
Just double check. Nope, that's about it.
Alrighty. As your turn comes to an end, it is now the Kintyre Enforcer's turn, who turns its head to face Nox as it rears up. Taloned hands, stretching out to swing a sword 4 times at an AC of 21. Sandy's Chan's making fun of me. I keep rolling 1 every time. I'm not kidding. It's like a 25% chance, apparently, I'm rolling 1. Every time. I'm going to review the recording and be like, there, and there. But they do get 3 hits against the frontline fighter as they begin to lay in devastatingly hard strikes with their taloned hands.
Was it the familiar causes them disadvantage or Nox advantage?
Gives her advantage.
Yeah.
Sorry, my description might have been a little confusing, but
Oh, I was only half paying attention. I just knew the familiar did something and someone got disadvantage or advantage.
Yep, by using the help action, you can give advantage to someone on their next attack against a creature. So that was 23, 15, and 16 slashing damage, which I have applied to
Oh.
Nox.
Okay. Sorry, did they all hit or did any miss?
3 of the 4 hit shots hit.
Okay. The one that missed,
Yep.
we're just going to repose.
Alright, so you burn one of your superiority die, and you make a melee weapon attack back against the creature. This one, if you
damage
get to add the damage roll too. Yep. So you go ahead and make an attack roll with the Blade of Avernus.
roll. Oh,
And this
Okay.
would be advantage, right? Because of the help thing.
Yep.
advantage.
30's a hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Damage. 1d12.
17 points of slashing damage. She tears across the front of the Kintyre Enforcer that has her pinned. That's going to be it for the Enforcer's turn. So you know what that means. Jade's second turn. Alright, Dan. It's your turn to finish off the week for us as you get one last attack in before we get jump to the break. Moonlight takes another stab. 30's a hit. You go ahead and roll up your damage. 29 from the blade itself, and for your sneak attack. Always fun to see that twice in a round. Another 38. Devastating 140 damage practically you've done on your own this one round. Very nice. As the Enforcer is looking badly injured, and has changed who it's looking at. No longer concerned with Dean's character, it's locked eyes on yours. And I'm gonna flip over. I'm gonna remove Jade's second turn from the combat, including the funky little wizard over there for it. And I think that's a good spot for us to leave off for the week. Don't wanna all leave you hanging, so I'll just leave Dean hanging.
Hey.
I got one. Next week, we'll kick back off as we continue into this fight against the mechanical guardians of this rather wonderful Eden you find yourselves in. Admit it, you all want to try some of the mushrooms. You knew if Courtney's character Bellamy was here, she'd have some fun jokes with some of the stuff I have set up, so you never know.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, Courtney has canonically taken mushrooms in our Tuesday campaign, so
Oh, yes.
you're right. You're right on track with that one.
That's fair. That'd be a fun Tuesday day, I have to admit, but that's fair.
No, like a character, like in her game.
I'm sorry.
As
I
far
had to
as I
say it.
know, she's not been under the influence of shrooms.
Oh my word. She'd be sitting there, my character is only paper, so they're not? And you're like, no, you need to roll. Oh, right. I don't think that would work well for D&D.
No.
Couple beers, sure, have a good time, but, oh my word. Anyway, well, that's what I've got for this week. We can pick this fight up next week, and you can also have fun checking this beautiful garden out, along with the next room. Though I will warn, you probably notice how close on the corner of the map you are now. Crystal's not too far
yeah.
off for the second of 3.
The second of 3. That's one of these guardians' Borg designations.
It's also my birth order.
Second of
Well, that's
3.
true.
That's nice. Middle child syndrome.
Oh yeah, got it in droves.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, everyone. Well, I'm going to call it a week there, unless anyone has any questions. That's going to be it, and we can kick back up next week. I went a little over today since we were chilling for a good chunk of the day. Give us some extra time for game time.
It's
yeah.
all right.
Next week will probably be the last game before we take a break for a week. I'll probably be off on the 28th, and John's out anyway, so really good odds that'll be a week off. So
Yeah.
Oh my
All right.
God. August is over in 2 weeks. Jesus fucking Christ.
it's going to be wild.
So